hello to one of my favorites on the planet, and it's Michigan State week, so I obviously got to speak with him. And certainly whenever he starts a soliloquy on the state of sports, starting with the phrase, I know I'm going to get in trouble for this. He always has me at hello, and he says that Tom Izzo's back on the program at Michigan State. Good to see you, Tom. How are you? How are you?
Rich, how come you only call me when Michigan's favored in these games? How come you didn't call me those couple of years?
Is that accurate? I don't know about that, Tom.
Although that one year your wife and kids had to wear Michigan State pajamas, which I don't know if you ever got. But,
you know what? I just changed the dresses on you, Tom. That's what I did on that particular year. Great to see you, man. How are you? Good to see you.
Good to see you, Rich.
Good to see you, too. Before we get into what I know I want to talk about for sure, we got to talk about Mooch getting his number retired. Your speech, your video that you shot that to tell him that he had his number retired, that we surprised him with on game day morning, got us all choked up, man. That was beautiful at the Northern Michigan University where he got his number retired. Tom?
Well, it was great. I did get a chance to fly up there. I thought I was having a recruiting weekend, and we had a situation where I was able to fly up and spend a little time with them and all the players. It was a 50th reunion of a team that went 0-10 to 13-1 and won a national championship. So Steve deserves a lot. I mean, yeah, he was unbelievable for that place, and he really put Northern on the map. How can you be at Northern Michigan and be in 8th place for the Heisman? That's pretty cool. So
I got to tell you, when you said that in your video, I didn't know that, and I've known Mooch. I didn't know that he finished 8th for the Heisman that year, Mooch.
Yeah,
did he?
That's
really?
Pretty good, huh? Yeah. So now you'll give him a little more respect now than you do. Right?
I don't know if Michigan State wins this weekend. It's going to be a long 4 hours for me on Sunday. You know that, Tom. That is for darn sure. But so what was it like for you to see him go in? What was that like for you, man?
It was great. It brought back so many memories. We went over and visited the trailer park that him and I lived in for 3 years. It was back before either one of us made any money or had anything. And it was, we kind of convinced ourselves those were the good days. There was a lot of good times we had up there, and yet our friendship has lasted. And I appreciate, Rich, what you do for him. You're phenomenal on that show. And, I do miss a little bit that we've gotten, so lame that we can't have the Santa Mooch stuff anymore. We can't have the reindeer and all that.
Look at that. We just might not have the elves, that we used to have.
No elves. I mean, why should I watch if there's no elves? I mean, I'm not watching you and Maruchi. That's for damn sure.
You're too much, man. Tom Izzo here on the Rich Eisen Show. All right, let's jump into it. Again, I'm not being facetious. I'm being serious. Whenever you start a soliloquy about the state of college basketball or sports with, I know I'm going to get in trouble for this. I get my popcorn ready because I know what you're about to say is something that I'm going to agree with 100%. And this latest example was in reference to a young man named London Johnson, who is now part of Louisville basketball after spending 3 years in the G League. And I'm wondering, that was an unvarnished statement, and I'm wondering how you're still feeling about it a few days later, Tom.
I feel the same about it. I mean, some agree, some disagree, but I think people should understand what I feel the same about is we had no idea. I mean, we don't even know the rules, and I'm disappointed in that. I've been on a lot of NCAA boards, and I just think that if we're getting to the point where there's no rules and no guidelines and no guardrails in anything we do, I mean, that could be fine. And then I'm going to try to be the cameraman on your show. Maybe I'll come out to California and join you because it's getting harder and harder. And I don't think it's fair to the kids that are here, Rich. That's what I think. Everybody thinks, well, the guy that's gone pro, he goes pro, he leaves early, he makes a mistake, doesn't make a mistake, whatever it is, he should be able to come back. Well, that could be true. But what about if your son was one that was next in line at the school he was at, and all of a sudden he's out of luck? Now you're teaching kids, I think, things that I really don't want to teach them. So I said what I said, but I was more upset that nobody knows. I don't think anybody knows what rules are being made and how they're being made.
Well, again, my point that I was making the other day Tom, is that the G League was created for kids who basically wanted to get paid and weren't ready for the NBA yet, to make sure that the NBA wasn't wasting their talent, or their talent wasn't being wasted as the 15th man on a bench. And so let's get them some experience, let them get them paid in a way that college wasn't going to allow. And this young man availed himself of that. And now he's allowed to come back to college because I guess the NIL rules have changed to the point where that's fine. I don't get it. And nobody's, since you said what you said, called you up from the NCAA to try to explain anything? Nothing? Zero?
No. And the other reason it was created and why the NCAA semi went along with it is some kids just don't like school and didn't want to go to school.
Right.
So they tried to make it right for everybody. But I again, a lot of these things for me, I just think of how I would feel about my own son. And I know it's competitive, but there is a reason there was the amateur, there was the pro, and if it's going to change and everybody's going pro, then let's be pros. Let's have salary caps, let's have contracts that matter, and everybody will be pros. I mean, if that's what they want, I would struggle with that, but who am I? I would do whatever they want. And yet that's not been very clear, and that's disappointing.
So have you heard from any of your colleagues to say, let's band together and ask the questions, or has that happened, Tom?
Yeah, I have. I heard of a lot of colleagues, and, but it's one of those things, Rich, you got to get to the end of your career. You know what I mean? Because I think people are afraid to say too much because it's going to hurt recruiting or it's hurt. I really don't care. All I want to do is help the game and help the players that are here on my team. The other thing, if you're allowing that to happen, what happens to all these high school kids? Where do they go? How do they get their education? They're not going to get scholarships. There's a lot of programs now not even recruiting high school kids anymore. I think that's sad. That's my opinion. And I know I'm going to get killed for it, maybe by some people, but it's my opinion. But I think it's a fair opinion. And I've been on every board and I've watched it. And I don't know what we're doing right now, but I don't know who does, because nobody was presented these things before they happened, in my humble opinion.
Well, again, Tom Izzo here on the Rich Eisen Show. I am struggling with. Well, let me just go back to what you just said, Tom, where you said that it could hurt in recruiting for a younger coach to come out and take such a strident view against what I think is beyond a head scratcher. I mean, wouldn't it be helpful for your recruiting to say, basically, I'm not going to take somebody who's doing this sort of thing, that if I take you on my team, I intend to play you. I intend for you to be here. I'm not going to have you lose your spot to somebody that comes from the G League. You know what I mean? Like, wouldn't that be helpful in a way, or no?
Yeah, I think I see your point. I just don't know if people look at it. Every player we recruit, Rich, every player, Michigan recruits, or Indiana or Alabama or USC or UCLA. I mean, I got managers that think they're pros. Every player that you have on your squad thinks they're a pro. Mm-hmm. Now, there's only like 1.2% that make it there. So everybody thinks you should have every opportunity. I think you do have opportunities. I wish college was a farm club. I think we would be a great one. I wish we would work with the NBA and we'd all be together. I think they do a little bit more of that college and pro football. I'd like to see that happen more in basketball, to be honest with you.
All right. So let me throw this one at you. Coach Tom Izzo here on the Rich Eisen Show. The NCAA approved a rule change on Wednesday, allowing kids, athletes, and athletic department staff members to bet on professional sports starting November 1st. What's your 2 cents on that one?
God, you're my friend, even though you're a Michigan guy, and you've really been a good friend, and you've been great, and you're really good to my best friend.
Yes.
I got a season ahead of me. What the hell are you asking me questions? And I'm just going to get bombarded on.
No, all right. So I'm just saying.
I'll answer it. I'll answer it.
It's another thing you've got to worry about, I imagine. No? Yeah.
Well, since they legalized gambling, we have to worry about that. I mean, if I showed you texts on players that miss a free throw at the end of the game and we win by 10 instead of 11, I mean, they're killing him. So there's problems. You saw the gambling issues on on TV yesterday, and I mean, I don't know anything about it, but what I do know is money that you have in your pocket brings a lot of opportunities, some really good and some really bad. And at 18, 19, 17, I'm not sure. I know this, Rich, I wouldn't have been able to handle it. I promise you, Maruchi wouldn't have been able to handle it. And I'm betting Rich Eisen wouldn't have been able to handle it.
Tom, you are not wrong, man. And it is something. No, I'm serious. It's something my wife and I do, occasionally bring up to our kids that this is some real life adult stuff that's going to be crossing their paths at an age that they should feel free to reach out to us and not try and sweep under the rug where something can get worse. I mean, it's serious responsibility. That's the sort of thing that we talk about with them. And you're not wrong, man. You are not wrong.
And we talk about it too to them. But there's so many people out there that are in these kids' ears. I call them dirtbags and distractions. You know, we have a lot of distractions right now, and we have a lot of people. I mean, who funnels to money? A lot of people funnel to money that maybe aren't in the kid's best interest. And so, I got a lot of things I feel, and yet I understand I'm only one person that thinks about things, but I will promise you this, and I will say this publicly. There's not a day that I want to do what's best for the profession. I want to do what's best for Michigan State. I want to do what's best for the kid. Maruchi and I, we got a chance to live our dreams, Rich. He ended up in the NFL. I ended up at Michigan State and played for a national championship. We got to live our dreams. And my only mission now is to help kids live theirs. And yet, boy, there's a long way between when you're 22 and when you die at 80 or 90. And one of our jobs is to make sure those next 60, 70 years are better than the first 20. I'm just not sure the way we're doing it, we're going to accomplish that. We're going to see in a couple of years what happens to the kids that have made a lot of money and now go to what did you start out at, Rich? How much money did you make?
Tom, I don't know if I have that piece of paper here in front of me because I found it because I was cleaning out my office. I have a piece of paper from my first news director at my first job in Redding, California, KRCR Television, an ABC affiliate, where he slid a piece of paper across me after I was on the job for 3 months. It was stapled at the top. Darn it, I wish I had it right next to me. And it was my raise. And my raise from $6.40 an hour to $6.70 an hour. That's how I started in the TV business. It was a 30-cent raise. It was a 30-cent an hour raise. And first of all, I thought he was firing me. He pulled me into an office to say your probationary period's over as he slid this piece of paper across from me. That's how I started. That was my start.
I know for a fact you make a lot of money now because I know you do. Number one, it's the only way your wife's probably still with you. But number two, and more important, just think if all of a sudden you went back to making 40, 50,000 a year, which is going to happen to 90% of these kids. I just worry where they're going to be. So I'm all for paying players. I think there's got to be caps on it. I'm not a big guy in the transfer rule. And I don't think, I'd like to bring Magic Johnson back for his last 2 years.
That. Yes.
Feasible.
I love it. Oh, yes. So wait a minute. My producer, Mike Hoskins, has it. There it is. $6.50 to $6.90. That's it right there. 40-cent raise. I'm not kidding you. Look at that. February 95. February 95. There it is. So you're saying if I was making this, my wife wouldn't be with me right now? Is that what you're saying to me right now, Tom?
Yeah, I got married a little later in my life because my mother used to come down here and I was making like $5,000 a year at 28 as a GA. And she'd say, when are you going to get married? And I'd say, when are you going to find me a woman that'll marry me for $5,000 a year? It just didn't happen.
Oh, my God. You are the best. You going to the game? You going to the game, Saturday?
I am going to the game. Okay. Yeah, and I'm gonna cheer for our Spartans, and I'm gonna think of you. And if things go really well for us,
I might hear from you.
Plan on getting a phone call. If they don't, crickets.
Deal. Same thing. Same thing. You and me. Okay. Same thing.
All right,
That's a deal. Great to see you, Tom. You're the
Hey,
best.
thanks a lot, man. Take care of my boy Mooch.
Always, always. Take care of yourself. That's Tom Izzo, everybody, the one and only head coach of Michigan State basketball. I love that guy. And I don't say that about any other Michigan State Spartan ever, anywhere. Hey, you made it all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Check us out every single day streaming live on Disney Plus and the ESPN app 12 to 3 Eastern.